Bomb's armed. See it through.
This is what I do. You know you want.
Back there, moving right for me.
We've
Yeah,
destroyed
towards
the
the
enemy
area.
force.
What is going on, everyone? Griffin here, coming at you with some chalk gameplay, and today we're going to be talking about 6v6 TDM. It was removed from the game for a short period of time, but they brought it back. So let's head over and check it out. So as you can see here, this is the patch notes for the Walking Dead update. And this is the actual patch notes, not the PTS patch notes. But as you can see right here under the quick play queue refined section of the patch notes, it says here that we want to offer more modes available all the time with quick play. By doing this, we are moving away from 6v6 for now. So 6v6 team deathmatch is no longer available. So this was released the day that the patch went live. I believe at the same time that the servers went back online. And then if we come over here to Rogue Company's Twitter page at 6:59 p.m. on October the 18th, which is the same day that the patch was released, you can see here where they released a tweet that said, "Hey Rogues, thanks for all your feedback around 6v6 TDM today. This queue has been turned back on." And then they also replied to it and said, "Apologies and thanks again for all your patience today. There appears to be an issue with 6v6 team deathmatch. The team is planning to tackle this as quickly as possible, but it will be tomorrow ET." So most people already know my thoughts around 6v6 TDM. 6v6 TDM is not a competitive game mode by any stretch of the imagination. It is normally filled with new players. It is like historically filled with new players or bots, or you have your tryhards that are absolutely positively trying to wreck as many people as they possibly can so that they can show their scoreboards off on Reddit and on Twitter and various other places on social media. That's basically what it boils down to. There's really no redeeming quality to have 6v6 TDM in the game. It adds extra players to the match, which makes the game run worse. There's so much more going on. The spawns in the game are absolutely abysmal, so adding more players into the match makes those spawns and makes the spawn system that much worse. It's just not a good game mode. That's my opinion on it. It's just not a good game mode whatsoever. It feels like it could be better, and it is better with 4v4, even though in my opinion 4v4 needs to be reworked a little bit to bring the elimination count down just a little bit, because the games kind of feel a little bit more passive and they feel a little bit more drawn out compared to 6v6 TDM, because of course you've got more players, you've got more action, you've got more engagements. It feels like a quicker experience on 6v6 versus the 4v4, but that's a whole different thing. What I wanted to talk about here was them disabling 6v6 and how this affects the player base as a whole and why they decided to turn it back on, in my opinion. So 6v6 is a very popular queuable mode because of the reasons that I stated before, but there are some limitations that certain players have that are not able to access 6v6, such as on the Switch. The Switch can't play 6v6 TDM for whatever reason. It can play Overwatch 2 at 60 FPS. It can play other games that it technically shouldn't be able to play at a very consistent and a very easily managed FPS, but it can't play Rogue Company at a consistent FPS, and it can't play 6v6 TDM, which feels very bad, especially when you, at that point, excluding ranked, only have access to 2 queuable modes there. With quick play, it adds 3 queuable modes. So I understand why they're wanting to get away from the 6v6. It makes sense to me why they're wanting to get away from the 6v6 experience, and that's okay if they wanted to do that. But 6v6 has been in the game for so long at this point that if you're going to make a massive change like that, you can't bury it in the patch notes. You know, you can't just not release any type of social media information whatsoever and just let it be what it is. People saw this and people started losing their minds immediately when the update went live. Why don't we have access to 6v6 TDM? Where's it at? Why can't I queue into it? This is my game mode that I like to play, blah, 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 blah. Like that was happening all over Twitter when the update came out. It was happening all over Discord whenever the update came out. It was happening all over Reddit whenever that update came out. People were losing their minds. And the reason that they're losing their minds is a good reason. There was no information passed along to the community whatsoever that, hey, we're going to minimize the player count with some of the game modes so that it allows the game to run better, so that other consoles have access to all the game modes that we're offering, and because we're wanting to move away from 6v6 because that's not what the game's balanced around. It makes sense. Release something on social media to your fan base so that everybody knows that in this update 6v6 is going to be disabled. And yes, they can be upset. Yes, they can voice their opinions in the comments, but disable it for a while. Have these people that queue in 6v6 exclusively queue into quick play and other game modes, and then come back in 3 weeks, a month, and see what the consensus of the player base is at that point. I don't enjoy playing it. I don't enjoy playing it at all. But I get that there's a lot of people that do enjoy playing it. And I think for those players, it's kind of a system shock when it comes down to, oh, wait a minute, my main game mode is no longer in the game anymore. What am I going to do? What am I going to play? Well, there's obviously other options, right? There's obviously other things that can be played, such as the quick play queue, such as strikeout, such as whatever, because we know you're not going to queue into demolition, and that's fine. If you play respawn game modes, probably not a good idea to queue into demolition. But yes, this wasn't communicated to the community very well whatsoever. This should have been something that was laid out on paper for everybody to see across all social media platforms. That way everybody knew going into it. It also should have been announced whenever they did the Walking Dead update notes. They should have said in that live stream, and then also released social media content after that saying, hey guys, we're not going to do 6v6 anymore. This is why we're not going to do it. And then we're going to gauge reaction in about a month and see how everybody feels about playing some of the other game modes to see if it's something that's going to be worth bringing back online and what we can do going forward to make it a better game mode if there's enough buzz around this specific game mode. That's how that should have been handled. It's a core game mode, and it's been a core game mode for a very, very long time. It's like if you went in and cut off Strikeout. Now, me personally, yes, go in there and cut off Strikeout today, and I would be 1,000% happy about that being cut off. But there are a lot of players that play Strikeout. And if you cut off Strikeout today, just like at this specific moment, just flip the switch and cut Strikeout off, people would lose their minds. And warranted. It is absolutely warranted that they lose their minds about this because it is their game mode. It is what they prefer to play. And you go in there with no notice, no anything. You get home from work and you log on and you're like, man, I'm just wanting to play a couple of Strikeout matches, get in here and wreck on these noobs and I don't know, whatever the cool kids say these days. And they log in and it's just not there. There's no ranked strikeout. There's no strikeout. There's nothing. It's just all gone. They would freak out. And they have all the right to freak out. So I think that if they want to get away from 6v6, then that's fine. I think that they need to communicate that with the community as to why they want to get away from 6v6. And then they need to let the community give feedback there, let the community experience other game modes at that point to see if 6v6 was actually something that they enjoyed playing, or if it was just the first game mode that they dropped into, and that's just kind of what's familiar to them. That's what they needed to do. That's what I would do. And there's still time for them to do that. That's absolutely what should happen going forward if they decide to remove any of these game modes for either reworks for a temporary amount of time or permanently remove them. They need to let people know, hey, we're going to do this. That way that they're prepared for it. That way they can give feedback on it. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think that 6v6 being in the game is a good idea? Do you think the developers should have announced this prior to the update going live that they were going to disable 6v6? And are you happy that they brought it back and turned it back on? Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments. Also, be sure to check that description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Also, there is a link in the description down below for the most current giveaway. So if you're interested in being a part of that, be sure to hit that link in the description and fill out the appropriate information. And lastly, on Thursday, Thursdays from 8 until 11 p.m. Central Time, Sundays from 10 a.m. until we get tired. I will be streaming here on YouTube, so if you're interested and available, please feel free to stop by and say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys.
We've destroyed the enemy force.
He gonna reveal, dude.
Oh, I'm dead.
Bomb dropped.
He's one shot.
Watch out, there's a second guy there. In the back.
All enemies have been
Nice.
eliminated.
Nice, nice.
That's one.
Lethal out.
Bomb down.
You okay? You okay?
Thank you.
Both up that middle there.
You all
Yeah,
made
boy.
that easy.
Team shot for the win.
Nice.
GG, man.
GG.
There, buddy.
Do what?
I think I'm gonna call it there.